This program was made possible in part by viewers like you. G'nashish Ha'a. Thank you.
Kiksadi have lived. We've had our home here in Sitka for thousands of years. I'm always so grateful to my ancestors for coming here. When the spring comes, when the spring finally gets here, there is nothing, there's really nothing like Sitka, like Sitka Sound, like everyone, all of the animals are waking up, the bears are coming back, the plants are starting to come out, and it's just always been such a joyful part of our year. It's the beginning of our subsistence, it's the herring eggs, and there's really no way to explain what it's like here.
Yeah, this is what we're looking for.
The trees are anchored up in the spawning habitat, and you anchor them up just right so the tree floats off the bottom. And so when we pull the trees too, we look for the best spawn in them, and that's what we harvest, and then we leave the rest and let it hatch. And as long as you leave about a third or so of the tree, or a third or so of the eggs in general, they'll come back year after year. My name is Steve Johnson. Ichtakish yukat duasog finget khainaksa kiksadiaya shikadach at ish hus kagwantan. And Sitka is one of the homeland territories of the Kiksadi people. And for tens of thousands of years, we stewarded it and took care of its resources and its people and its animals, and it provided for us and took care of us.
The sacro fishery is it's really unique in that it really, the roe itself only goes to Japan, and then the bodies do go to a smaller food market in maybe China and Korea and stuff like that, and some fertilizer. So, or fish meal.
Big fat belly, so yeah. But that's all what it's about right there. Perfect stain. Then these are a lot of females, holy cow. I mean, it's just, this is unbelievably good. Male. But yeah, it's hard to believe that that's what the Japanese just go crazy over.
You see duck there?
Good evening. It's 5:18 and you are listening to All Things Considered here on Raven Radio, KCAW Sitka. Right now it's 46 degrees outside with overcast skies. I'm Catherine Rose with Raven News for Monday, March 28th, 2022. The first herring spawn was observed over the weekend in Sitka Sound. The Sitka Sound Sacro herring fishery opened on Saturday. Seiners landed an estimated 450 tons.
Oh yeah, the grapple. Grapple cutters.
So we're gonna let these ones spawn. The sooner we get them back in there, the better. Right? Right? Bear claws, bear claws. Wow. Okay, we're coming back with our first little load of herring eggs. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yay, Lee. Okay, here you go, Louise. Our official taste tester.
Cheers!
Cheers! Oh.
Oh,
That crunch, huh?
oh, thank you.
This was work today, that's for sure.
Right?
You know, because I wanted to bring them back so they were ready to go. And I think we got, I don't know, but I think we got the first herring eggs that I've seen
No,
so
you
far.
better not post.
No,
You better not post it on social media. It'll be ringing off the hook.
Oh, I know.
Ashich tlayuchat dosak kiksadi ayachat kahit nachatati kagwantan dachchan ayachat kachat jashana chatsiti. And we Kiksadi women are known as the herring ladies. My family, basically, herring eggs equals springtime. I definitely don't want to find out what spring would be like without herring eggs. I don't think anybody does.
Thank you very much. I'm Marcel Quinto, saying thank you to our brothers and sisters in Sitka who have shared the herring roll with us for almost my total lifetime. You know, years ago, when we were younger, that herring was available almost all throughout Southeast, but because of the herring seining, things have changed drastically. So I'm happy to be here, and I hope that will prevail. Thank you.
And some of my earliest memories are of herring in places where they no longer are. And it's very hard to ignore when you see a fish somewhere and then it never comes back. And according to Fish and Game, that didn't happen. And so, I feel like it's incumbent upon all of us to say something and to do what we can to protect what little we have left. And as everybody knows, it's not just part of our food and our nutrition, but it's very much a part of who we are. And so that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm doing what I can.
In the 70s and early 80s, and it increased over the 90s and 2000s as you see. So although it might not be exact in those early years, I think we have confidence that it was a much lower level than we see now.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak on this very important issue. We used to get boxes, big boxes of herring sent to us. We don't get that anymore.
One does not need to be a rocket scientist.
And while there may be more fish in front of Sitka this year, you have to look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture says there's less. Because right now the fear is, like all of the other fisheries that were managed the same way, is that it's going to collapse. And there's a very real possibility of that happening based on what we've seen in other areas close to us.
So there's certainly something to be said for indigenous knowledge. Is it your opinion that the data that the department is providing us is not telling the full story as far as whether there's a legitimate conservation concern? Because surely you probably wouldn't disagree with me that the data we watched this morning is not consistent with much of what the indigenous practitioners see. And I'm just curious for your take on it.
It's always interesting when I hear the state biologists say that the herring, the biomass, the herring population is healthy here and abundant. We don't see that as abundance. And when our people have to go further and look longer for herring eggs, we don't see that abundance. The abundance that the fishery sees is completely different than the abundance for herring eggs.
I think we all should feel blessed that we're experiencing such an amazing biomass. Sitka is truly tremendous. Kodiak is beyond belief. So
I know. I think it would really be horrible that, here you are, especially like say the people from Hoonah and Cake and the villages throughout Southeast Alaska, if you can't get fish right out your doorstep anymore. I mean, that's a real problem. I don't know what the answer is to that.
Persecuted commercially. Yeah. Like, where did all the other herring go in Southeast? And I know no one can answer it, but I'd like to hear your perspective on that.
It's not the fault of the commercial fishery here in Sitka by any stretch. And I don't believe it's the fault of the Fish and Game.
I mean, you have all these fisheries that used to exist and now don't. And you can't tell me that that's not a result of management at some point, But these are all things that people have witnessed within their own lifetimes. And that corroborates what we've been saying since statehood. That look, these things are on the decline. There's a lot of reasons why these things happen, and we don't understand what those are. And we need to. There were some kids from Ketchikan that I talked to this spring, and I gave a presentation on herring, and they had no idea that herring existed around Ketchikan and that they used to spawn there. And the kids just were astonished that these things used to happen there, and they wanted to know why they didn't. And nobody had a good answer for them. And I sincerely hope that that's not what my story's going to become. I have this very real fear that we could be the last generation that does this. And, it's a David versus Goliath battle. I mean, you have this cultural practice and tradition that's stacked up against a multi-million-dollar industry.
Is it diminished and declined in other areas in Southeast Alaska? Absolutely. But this particular Sitka stock, there's no way that you can scientifically say that it's ecologically unstable.
This is an insane amount of volume up here, guys. This is just like Cook Inlet. Super dense. I mean, it's ridiculous how much fish is up in here. The current is just flying, but still, yeah, this is truly awesome up here. I'm gonna go up in this hole that's a little bit out of the current.
You know, the buffalo hunters had several missions, but one of them was to destroy the food source of the indigenous people. And I don't think that the industry has a willful desire to do that, but I definitely think there's a certain amount of negligence to it. And this year was the first year that I saw Fish and Game close an area because it had subsistence sets in it. And that to me was just phenomenal.
Just got a report of some subsistence sets just north of Point Brown. So the area within 200 yards of mean high tide mark will be closed to commercial fishing.
So that's the first time I've ever heard him say that they would actually close areas around branches. So, and then a guy apparently we have the radio down, but a guy just got on the radio and said that he had just placed some branches there, so please don't fish near there, which nobody's ever said that before either. So that shows you kind of the level, the change that's kind of gone on here. It's kind of interesting.
So I think you could say, yes, herring fisheries were overfished prior to statehood. But then since statehood, it's been the goal of the state to rebound the fisheries, have them at a sustainable, harvestable level, both for nature and human consumption. And I think they've done that. I believe it's the finest managed fishery in the state. I mean, this particular fishery. There's, like I explained, there's no other fishery that goes to the length or the depth or the care that they do here. So I'm 60, I'll be 60 this year. I fish about 9-10 months out of the year. So I spend a lot of time on the ocean and I love it. And I want to pass that heritage. Both my wife fish with me, both my children fish with me. I want them to be able to participate. And for now, we have healthy ocean conditions. But no, I've seen a steady increase in water temperature throughout my career. I've seen a steady decline in seabirds throughout my career. I think the long-term future is grim. I mean, anybody that doesn't believe in climate change or global warming has got something wrong with them. I'm sorry, it's just ludicrous. So, I think unfortunately what we're going to see is we're going to see instability, more radical ups and downs. But so I know what you're saying. So do we rack right now and not fish just because the future is bad? I don't know that. What good would that do? So while we're enjoying this tremendous boom in herring right now, I think inevitably it's going to decline. I think inevitably salmon stocks are going to decline because of overall oceanic conditions. You know, hopefully that's in the far future, but it's going to happen. And there's no stopping it. I'm sorry. You know, with what's going on the planet, with the ever-increasing human population, with all the stresses on the planet, the ocean is going to be the first to go.
I do not want to say that, oh, you know, with global warming, it's all going to be over. With climate change, it's all going to be over anyway soon. It's like, I can't. I think of my ancestors who fought for me against great odds against the Russians. I think of my granddaughters and say, how, I don't have that right. I don't have that privilege to say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this. And I really don't think that anybody does. We're not separate. We're not separate from each other. We're not separate from our environment. It's a part of us. And we need to take that responsibility seriously.
You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Yeah.
is a set. It seems like we always have to struggle to just exist, just to define, just to have our way of life, you know, to do these things that we've always done, that our parents have done. And it's like I've never known it to be without a fight. And no matter what we do, each generation picks up the sword. And now it's mine. That's how I became part of Board of Fish and things. I feel like now there are a lot of new people, a lot of new faces, and a lot of younger people who don't necessarily hold the same ideals of, you know, cut, kill, dig, drill, no matter what. I feel like as these things continue, they're going to get better. And I feel like there's going to be more talk and more collaboration. I mean, I saw board members of the Board of Fish talk about, you know, wanting to know about subsistence practices and things, which is not something I've heard much before. You know, for tens of thousands of years, people lived here and survived and prospered. And I think now that people see that a little more, we don't have to fight as much. But it does seem to be never ending. You know, I'm doing, and many other people are doing, everything diplomatically and as efficiently as possible to protect this little bit of way of life that we have left. This is one of the last unbroken cultural practices that we have here. And our ceremonies, our identity, our moms, aunties, sisters, these things are so important to us on so many levels that without them, a big part of us is missing. You know, it's like losing a parent. You know, part of you goes away and it doesn't come back. And you think about it so often and how it's impacted your life and how it's become part of your life. But you can't go back and you can't bring them back to life. And if that's what happens to our herring, then I don't know. I hope I don't get to know.
About 50 pounds, UKC. Yeah, so this is like, these are eggs that are going back to our community of our inland Tlingit. And we've never, it's been so long since we've had this, like some of our people, we have family down here, right? And we're from up north, and we have this, we rarely get this food, eh? It's so precious to us. So it's just these little herrings have brought us together, you know.
Okay, who's got a big bag? You gonna come over here? We're gonna put this one in your bag, okay? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Rosemary White. I was raised in Tututuliak, which is on the Kuskokwim. My parents still live up north, and I try to send them a box every year. And so because they share them with all our family at home.
My hope for the future is that we have more light than shadows. We have more sun than darkness, that we go through this difficult time in the world together, and that we use our voices and our strength to protect the sacred. And our elders see us working really hard to protect the herring. And I hope that they can rest with a little bit of peace, that everything's going to be okay, and that this joy is secure that we have when we have herring eggs with our families.
This program was made possible in part by viewers like you. Ganeshchish Hawa, thank you.